So Alexander Povetkin knocks out Manuel Charr in the 7th round. This was a great heavyweight slugfest while it lasted, and was pretty much what most people expected, because Povetkin likes to come forward and throw shots, throw combinations, and we all know that Manuel Charr likes to do the same. So these two guys were always headed for a collision course. But the fight turned out to be actually even better than I expected it. And this is as sharp as I've seen Povetkin for a very, very long time. He came in light and he was razor sharp. He had a point to prove. Sometimes fighters, when they're on very, very long unbeaten runs, they can actually lose motivation. And sometimes a loss is actually good for them, because it, re-motivates them. It hurts their pride in a certain way that they get that fire, the eye of the tiger back, and they want to come out and prove themselves like when they were younger. And that certainly seemed to be the case tonight with Alexander Povetkin. He fought wicked tonight. Great combinations. His hand speed seemed better than I've seen it in recent years. He was in good shape. He was changing the angles on the inside, stepping around to the side to get angles for the hooks and uppercuts and body shots. Very fast combinations. And Manuel Charr was game, but to me he seemed a bit out of shape. I mean, he's never been an Adonis or anything like that, Manuel Charr, but to me he did seem a little bit on the heavy side. I've seen him look in better shape than that before, and he was struggling to get his punches off. I know Povetkin was using certain angles, so he wasn't presenting an easy target for Manuel Charr a lot of the time, or an obvious target. But nonetheless, he was a bit ponderous compared to Povetkin. I guess that extra weight, and his hands are not as quick as Povetkin's are, and he just couldn't get his shots off quick enough to be able to really handle Povetkin on the inside. And Povetkin was definitely the boss on the inside for the most part. Charr did get in with the odd decent shot here and there as the rounds progressed, but for the most part Povetkin was dominating most of the exchanges. And I mean, obviously you could say that Manuel Charr played into Povetkin's hands, because yes, Povetkin looked good, but he was fighting against a guy who was almost tailor-made for him. And I've seen Charr fight in a different manner than that. I've seen him, move around in some fights and stuff like that. And maybe that would have served him a bit better if he'd done it in this fight against Povetkin, rather than just standing toe-to-toe with Povetkin, because Povetkin had the faster hands. His combinations were more accurate, more crisp. He was getting off more quickly. So it might have served it might have served Manuel Charr better to maybe get on his bike. He seems like he had a bit longer arms than Povetkin, so his advantage would have been at long range, using his jab and stuff like that. But it is what it is. He's a warrior, Manuel Charr. He likes to get in there and trade level with people, regardless of who you are, and he wanted to do the same with Povetkin, and that was his downfall. That was definitely his downfall. He allowed Povetkin to go to town with the hooks and the uppercuts and the faster hands. And the finish in the 7th round was a brutal finish, clinical and brutal. Povetkin put his punches together very, very well, and he seems rejuvenated after the loss to Vladimir Klitschko, almost like Canelo Alvarez against Alfredo Angulo. It reminded me a lot of that. It reminded me of Alvarez against Angulo, the way that Alvarez was remotivated after his loss to Floyd Mayweather, but at the same time he was fighting an opponent who was pretty much tailor-made for him. So there's the similarities between those two fights. So yeah, if you ain't seen the fight, I recommend you go watch it. Great heavyweight scrap for 7 rounds and a brutal KO finish. Charr he wasn't unconscious, but he went down hard. No one's ever done anything like that to him before. So impressive work by Povetkin. Charr not in the greatest shape. Didn't fight the smartest tactics maybe, but nonetheless, he's a tough guy. He was game. He was throwing leather back, and Povetkin looked very, very good in defeating him. So drop your comments below. Let me know how you feel about this fight, if you saw it. This is Hatman. I'm out.